So if this is your first webcam, I hope you enjoy yourselves. There are many great sessions this year. I'm Andrea Capitan. I work at Stanford in the School of Engineering Center for Global and Online Education as a Drupal and web architect. I have been at Stanford for 11 years. I have worked with Drupal since 2006, since about Drupal 6 is, when I came in. Okay, let's see, two people. Okay. So today I'm going to create a Drupal site and a theme with the help of Claude Code. And I'm going to go a little quickly through the slides because I'm finding that I don't necessarily get done with the demo in 45 minutes. So what is Claude Code? Claude Code is Anthropic's agentic coding tool. It runs in your terminal. It's not a chat window, not an editor plugin. You'll have to ask, this is all just the disclaimer here. This is my machine, my personal Claude Code. You'll have to ask, at your work, your department, your manager, if you're allowed to use it. So Claude Code doesn't just suggest code. It takes actions, reads files, edits them, runs shell commands, installs dependencies, if you allow it to do that. So it's a very powerful tool. You can give it a simple, install Drupal, and Claude will, reply. It'll handle that. It also will show you what commands it's running. So for installing Drupal, you start Claude Code in the directory where you want Drupal installed. That is basically, what I did. Let's see here. Okay, let's see, which slide am I on? Okay. Okay, I guess I missed the prerequisites. So if you're going to use this, if you're going to run Drupal in any environment, you're going to need a classic LAMP stack on your local machine, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. These are some of the things it needs. If you're going to run Drupal 10, I think 8.2 for PHP, Drupal 11, I think you need PHP 8.3. It also works with Postgres, Nginx, but here are just some things to get started. If you have Node.js installed, you can use an npm installer. This is my tool set. I just installed Claude Code directly. And how I used it for setup, I asked it for the install commands, and then I ran those in a separate terminal window because I don't like to necessarily give it access to my entire site. I feel like that, I don't know, it depends on your level of trust and comfort, but I just feel like with these AI tools, just want to be a little bit careful and not necessarily give them access to everything. So what we're going to build today is something like this. And this is all Claude. So this is basically, site install. I did have to supply the picture, but it found its own little orange icon. It created the hamburger menu. It created the social footer. It created all of the content on this site. And this is also available to you on GitHub. Oops, too many windows. Okay. So this, I will leave this up and I will, we'll start in a terminal window. Somebody wants something on Slack. Let me move all the people. Okay. And I think what I will do on this one. Okay. So I'm going to, I like to run everything in a directory I created called sites. I'm going to make a new directory called Apple. CD into Apple. Can everybody see this? Is this large enough, this terminal? Or is the font big enough for this one?
I can read it.
You can read it. Okay, great. Okay, and then I'm just going to say Claude.
I can read it on my iPad, but it wouldn't hurt for the font to be a little bigger.
Oh, okay. If I can do that. Let's see here. Oh, I forgot how to make the font a little bit bigger. Text. It's because I'm always in dark mode.
Doesn't Command plus work?
And this one?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julie.
Good.
Oh, that was easy. Okay, so I want to give Claude access to this folder. And there's Claude. And he looks like a little space invader. And just say, hi, Claude. My gloves up here. I would like new Drupal 11 website called Apple, created in this directory. Apple and DDev and Kalima are already set up. And so if you're a Docker desktop with Lando person, you can also do that. This I feel like is very lightweight, and I would like a plan as well, so that it doesn't, I don't want it just to go off and start, and it's going to, say the ask, and I can just say, no, I can say already there. Already there. Okay. I guess I will let it look. I would say usually it doesn't fight me that much. Hi, Claude. Stay plan to install. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead. Frolicking. There. Oh. New site here. Yeah, it's looking at one of my other test sites that I installed. And I can't type. I'm gonna exit this session, Claude. Let's see here. Okay, so this should be fine. A new Drupal 11 site. Yes. Yes. Okay, so I wanted it to start a new project. I didn't want it to like try to figure out what I had done before in a different directory. I just sometimes Claude, doesn't behave. Yes. Okay. And so what I really wanted to do is it can do that. Uh, that looks good. Good. But before we start, can you create a plan for installing Drupal, adding a sub theme, and let's go step by step. It's going to try to install right away. It'll probably have to install Composer first, but I wanted to show you guys that you want to, um, let's see, enter to select. Yeah, I don't want to like have an interview right now, but you can do that. So this isn't really like I would say vibe coding. You'll have to kind of know, what the expectations are. So this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting it to come up with a plan, right? Install Drupal 11 via Composer. That's right. Install Drush. That's right. Run the Drupal site install. Create a sub theme. enable the sub-theme, verify. And so this looks good. And what I always do is I manually approve all edits, because as we saw before, it was just, trying to dig into other folders, and that's not what I want. Okay. And I'm going to ask, do you need to install Composer? Okay. All right, now it's going to do the classic install. If you've installed Drupal before, this is pretty much the same as it's always been. And it's telling you, what I like about Claude Code is it tells you what it's doing. So, if you see something that you don't like, you can always say no. If I wanted to, I could say no here, and I could say, what are you doing and why are you doing this, or explain this command to me, and it would give you a nice long explanation. You could read through that. And so this is good for learning Drupal, learning to code, getting more information about commands that maybe you have just used automatically in the past. So I don't know why it's installing Drush. Let me just ask real quick. Doesn't Drush come? It's pretty good to ignore spelling mistakes. Site install, yes. Okay, it's going to do basic site install. It's going to call it Apple. I didn't. No, go ahead. I probably clicked on something. And now it's going to create a theme folder. So I'm going to let it do that first. Jumping ahead, Claude. So Claude is here installing a theme. This is, if you know your Drupal, that these are the files needed. But I told it to do that in the plan, so. And so do I want to create a style.css file? Yes, I do. And this would take, unless you do it all the time, this would take maybe a couple hours, or at least an hour to do it all by hand. And it's going to enable this theme. And it's going to launch the site, and we'll see if we get anything. And yes, we did. Here is our basic site. That's what we get had you done all this by hand. This is the Olivero theme. Very basic. And it tells you what was built. And so now if I'm going to work on this in the future, I could say, write to memory, write to your memory. That's like if at this point I had to exit or answer the door or go to the grocery store and I didn't want to leave all this running, I could just write to your memory. And then the next Claude that I spin up would remember this. So this is basically what Claude just did. Prompt 1, create a theme. So I could say, it was something I wanted to show you guys. Let's see, adding to GitHub. So you could say, can you create a local repo for the site? Add in Drupal appropriate at just say things to get ignore. And this is just because you really don't want secrets, passwords, all of that good stuff in your repository in case you ever want to push it to GitHub or anything like that. You don't want things going up there. Yes, can do get in it. And if you want to save tokens, let's say that your work isn't paying for this and you want to save tokens, you can very easily, have another terminal window and you can type, get init and all these commands yourself. You don't have to let Claude do every little thing, but, I kind of like him to do, sometimes just, I feel like Claude can just do it, get it over with. It tells me, what it did. Say no. I'm gonna ask it to show you the get ignore file. Create README. Okay, so here it is. Here's the README it's going to create. Dev, getting started, development. You want to create that? Yes, I do. That looks very nice, Claude. Thank you. Claude is such a buddy. Okay. Editor, do I want to add all of those exciting things to Git? Yes, I do. That'll be. And it does a git commit. And I say yes. Okay. I'll say, okay, thanks. Getting back to the theme. Let's see here. Theming basics. And our next slide was we wanted to, let's see, I would like hero image, hero image on the home page and an Apple icon. Just say free from somewhere. The background, parchment, header red instead of blue, and we'll see what it does. So this is kind of what we're doing. You can copy these four prompts exactly, or just whatever. I'm kind of off the top of my head. I kind of treat Claude as, maybe like a junior developer. So it's looking at Olivero's CSS variables. And it's good that it's looking into that, because sometimes if you don't get what you might what you think you're getting, a lot of times it's like not noticing that, the base theme is still overriding the theme that, so sometimes you do have to let Claude investigate. And while that is cooking, just like any other cooking show, I can show you some of the, let's see what it said. Good, I can see the header uses. Oh, it's still working. See if I can show you some of the other things I did with Claude while that's cooking. So here's Lime World. And, just with just the same mechanism, it created this menu. It came up with this. I pretty much just said, I want a responsive menu, and it created that. I had to put the picture in. It put these words on top of the picture. I had it create content for limes around the world. And this is what it did. This one actually, it came up with all of this. This is the social media footer that it created. Even had recipes, which I didn't ask for. I just said, give me a homepage with, limes around the world, and then some other pages so I can see what it's going to look like on a menu. And it just generated all of this content. That is basically what Claude did for the lime one. For oranges, same thing. It created this. It created this menu. Okay, so getting back to Apple here. Here's my approach. So it tells you what it's going to do. Override CSS variable to red, body background to parchment, also be a CDN for the Apple brand icon. Good, site branding name is confirmed. Now writing all the changes. And so you can kind of see what it's doing here. And let's say you didn't want that, you can say no, and it would say, well, what should Claude do instead? If you're good with this, or you're curious. Okay, it's like, what did Claude come up with? Just say yes. And so now I've got a whole lot more So here's your style.css. So you can kind of look through this and, if I like, oh, I wanted something else here, I could say no, and I could give it, something more specific. But I think this is fine. And you can see what it's doing. It's editing this file. And I guess I didn't, it's editing this file. And, for anyone who is familiar, this deletes, these are things it's deleting, and the pluses are things that it's adding. I'm just going to say yes. And in another window, you could, cite Apple. And you could run your own DDEV drush CR to save tokens. And you want to do that. And then let's see what it created. Okay. And, I don't like that there. I don't like this. I could say, use this for the hero. And I've already, you can just drag and drop images right into the command line. Yes, it's going to create a images directory. And this is a free picture from Pexels. Just going to add that. I'll let it run drush CR. We already launched. Say, why are you launching? Let me make sure that's true. There it is. You're right. See, this is the kind of thing. And I mean, it's maybe it wouldn't hurt anything, but it's kind of like, you want to watch Claude. So I can say, hey, let me create some content. And with a home page, apples around the world, different kinds of apples. It is forgiving of my terrible typing. Apples around different kinds of apples and trees, maybe apple trees, and some other articles and recipes, and add to the menu. And so Claude will do that for you. And, I'm going to add social media footer. I'm going to add a hamburger menu. I'll have it do all that sort of thing. And slowly and surely this will take shape. You can also take a screenshot. Oops. Take a screenshot. And And so it's going to write a PHP script to create all the content and menu links via Drush and say, okay, I don't know if it did that the last time, but each time with Claude is different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this screenshot at Claude and I'm going to say, Claude, I don't like this blue apple thing, make that look more professional or do something, better with it. And it'll come up with something. And of course, when you're designing a website, you probably have your own ideas and specifications. And so you can just keep iterating with Claude and Claude will get it done. So these are the key takeaways. Claude reads context. Describe what you want in plain English. Refine your theme. And you stay in control, as you've seen many times. I say no and question what it's doing, or, say I don't want that, or I don't like that, or something like that. And let's say it got some big error here, then it's like, what's the problem, Claude? Why did you just get a big error there? So here is what it's creating. Well, it's creating a lot of things. So normally I would, sift through it all. And you could also have it create content types, article types, blog types. And if it, got some big error, you just say, what's the problem, Claude? Can you figure out what went wrong? And it would do that. Okay, let's see here. Let's say Dita Droshia. Oh, and look at that. We've got some content. It's already created this little hamburger menu. I didn't even have to ask. It's very nice, Claude. So I could say, this is, that blue box is ugly. Ugly Claude. The header. You don't have to use parchment as a background. It's just my eyes are sensitive to light. So that's the first thing I do so I don't have to stare at a white screen. Okay, and so we only have about 4 minutes left. So does anyone have any questions for me or for Claude?
Can you have more than one Claude code window open at a time, or terminal window?
You mean for the same project?
Yeah.
I have never tried that. You could try it. As it messes everything up. Thanks, Julie.
It probably messes everything up. Well,
I don't think so. I'll let it finish that.
Or would it be a completely new window that doesn't know about the
It
other
would
one?
be, I could say Claude here, but it's just going to, right? Then you'll have 2 Claudes and, one will have to figure out what the other one did. Right?
Well, here's an answer. You've got a listener. You've got an audience member. It uses GitHub work trees, which I don't know anything about. So that's now I'm going to learn about that too.
Yeah. No, we're learning so much. Yeah. And if you have, comments and best practices, feel free to chime in. As I think this is a really cool tool and I love it, but we're just I feel like we're just learning here. So yeah, more questions and comments, welcome. So the orange citrus demo is available from GitHub. If you want apple, if you want the lime, I also have a lemon one. And that was just me practicing this talk. But yeah, if you want this project, I can shove it on up GitHub and you can have it and download it. Of course, your database won't be there. You'll have to do your own database, but you can see how very easily Claude can generate content, and most people, will want their own content. Did they do a GDF? He did a drush, yeah, okay. Okay. Not that I like the green that much more. Let's see. Home, okay. So that's our site. And yeah. There is an AI panel and other AI if you're interested in that. But yeah, I want to thank you all for attending, and you can reach me on Slack, LinkedIn, if you want any more information, if you need help installing, I don't know what to do with this little window. If you need help installing, or setting up your local environment or anything like that. I mean, there is documentation all over the internet, but I'm willing to help. So, all right. Thank you very much.